Commercial. Music video. Narrative. What do these three things have in common? This thing. The gimbal. But what is a gimbal? Well, a gimbal is a pivoted support that allows an object, such as a camera or a phone, to rotate freely on a single axis. It's often used in camera stabilization systems to counteract unwanted movements and vibrations, resulting in a smoother, more cinematic footage. Gimbals typically consist of a series of concentric rings, each rotating on a different axis, which allows the attached device to remain stable regardless of the movement of the base. There was a time when keeping cameras steady meant one thing: don't move. Tripods ruled the set: still, grounded, locked in place. But storytelling isn't still, it moves, and so do the tools we use to tell those stories. From ancient compasses to today's cinematic drones, the journey to modern gimbal is a story of creativity, engineering, and the desire to move smoothly through space and time. Gimbal is a very ancient and has evolved over time. The gimbal has ancient roots dating back to around 220 BCE, with Philo of Byzantium first handled the camera stabilizer. The Steadicam was invented in 1975 by Garrett Brown. Later, in 2013, Movi popularized electronic gimbals for cameras, initially used in other applications like helicopter mounts. So through this, we can see the many ways the gimbal has evolved from a mechanism in 220 BCE to current day. The idea of the gimbal dates back to over 2,000 years, in the 3rd century BCE, described as a suspended ink pot that never spilled. A clever application of the concentric rings rotating around multiple axes. In ancient China, similar mechanisms utilizing the rotating rings were used to stabilize instant burners aboard ships. And by the Han Dynasty, gimbals were a part of daily life. These early devices and mechanisms weren't made for filmmakers, of course. They were built to resist chaos, to keep things level when the world moved around them. Fast forward to the birth of photography and cinema. Cameras were bulky, film exposure was slow, and precision was everything. Enter the tripod stage, the workhorse of early visual storytelling. Simple, stable, but not exactly flexible. As film matured, so did the ambition to create bigger and better films. And what we used on these films, and the time we took, became a huge part of the filmmaking process. Filmmakers wanted to move the audience. Literally. The camera had to move too. And that's when things really got rolling. In the 1970s, the world met the Steadicam, invented by Garrett Brown. This mechanical marvel allowed the camera operators to walk, run, and even climb upstairs while keeping the shot perfectly steady. It gave us legendary shots, Rocky's run up the Philadelphia steps. Then suddenly, the camera had a heartbeat. The audience felt what was actually happening on screen, all because the devices such as the gimbal were being used. But the Steadicam required skill, strength, and setup. A powerful tool, but not always practical. Filmmakers wanted the freedom to move, without the bulk. Around the 2010s, motorized gimbal entered the scene. Lightweight, smart, portable. These devices use brushless motors to detect shake and correct it instantly. All on 3 axes: pitch, roll, and yaw. Gimbals didn't just catch up with the Steadicam, They sprinted ahead, from high-end cinema cameras to smartphones and GoPros. Stabilization became effortless inside a modern gimbal. Precision reigns. Sensors detect every motion, intentional or accidental. Motors respond in milliseconds, rotating just enough to cancel out the movements. Many gimbals now include features like subject tracking, gesture controls, programmable camera moves, and smartphone app syncing. It's like having a camera operator, dolly group, and drone pilot all in one device. But what does this mean for storytelling? Gimbals help us follow a character through the chaos, drift, and around a couple during their first dance. Glide across the mountaintop without breaking the illusion. Smooth motion equals immersion, and immersion deepens the emotion. Gimbals put movement and meaning into the hands of anyone with a story to tell. From stabilizing ink pots to indie films, the gimbal's journey is one of quiet innovation. And as stabilization becomes smarter and more accessible, the next generation of filmmakers will move even more freely because of great stories and never standing still. Finally, today's gimbals are quite compact, intelligent, and more versatile than ever before. With built, advanced 3-axis stabilization systems, they use brushless motors and inertial measurement units to detect and counteract even the slightest movement in real time. This allows for incredibly smooth footage and even during fast-paced motion or rugged environments. Many gimbals now come equipped with AI-powered features like Active Trap, which automatically follows the subject across the frame, as well as gesture controls, programmable motion paths, and panoramic or time-lapse modes. Integration with a smartphone app allows users to remotely control their gimbal, tweak settings, and even preview shots live. Brands like DJI have slightly made high-quality stabilization tools accessible to everyone, from professional cinematographers to vloggers, athletes, and even content creators. Gimbals are now used just not handheld, but also mounted to drones, cars, cranes, and robotic arms, making them indispensable in everything from a narrative filmmaking to news coverage, sports broadcasting, and even live concerts. In short, the modern gimbal has moved far beyond simple stabilization. It's now a creative storytelling machine in its own right. The gimbal is far older than most realizing. With roots stretching back to over 2,000 years, the earliest known description comes out of Philo-Byzantium in the 3rd century BCE, who wrote about stabilizing an ink pot suspended with rotating rings, an early example of stabilizing an object regardless of motion. In ancient China, during the Han Dynasty, inventors like Ding Huan applied similar principles to incense burners that stayed upright on swaying ships. By the Middle Ages, gimbals were used in the maritime navigation to stabilize compasses, keeping them level despite the rocking of the boats. These early gimbals typically used a system of concentric pivoted rings, each rotating on a different axis, what we now call pitch, roll, and yaw. Through mechanical, these early gimbals laid the groundwork for modern stabilization systems, showing that the need to maintain balance and orientation, whether for ink, fire, camera, phone, or navigation, has clearly been consistent across civilization. Through enduring relevance is a testament to the integrity for early engineers and inventors.
Having and using a gimbal is so easy and flexible, and the creativity and the options are endless. The aspect and the options that you can add to a scene using a stabilizer, such as a gimbal, makes your scene 10 times better and allows the audience to feel what's happening on screen.